Hey guys, it's RC Williams here for Sherlock Exposes. Juliana and I are on the road. We are in Georgia because tomorrow, or I should say later today, we've been going so long it's hard to even tell. Today's election is the Senate runoff between Herschel Walker and Raphael Warnock. And we're actually on the ground doing some investigative reporting. We'll be all over a particular county today watching, and then we'll report back to you on Sherlock Exposes. But we're doing this special edition via video for a very important reason. So normally with Rip from the Headlines, we provide you 3 key stories that have happened throughout the day. And then in the evening, we send those out to you with some of our commentary, things to ponder, and what it means, why should you care, and what should you do. But this one is like a special red alert. So it's shortly after midnight here. Eastern time in Georgia, and we decided we just needed to do this live right now and let you guys know what's going on. So the big news that we actually shared yesterday evening on American Adversaries with Chris Hart and his team is what I'll pull up here on the Sherlock big board. So this was a story that you may have actually missed today, but has huge importance. And this is on Bloomberg. What we've done is we've linked to this in the article here on Sherlock Exposes, and we've also taken a PDF copy of this and saved it in case they decide that they want to change the story or eliminate it. It'll be there for the record. So let me read the headline to you. Huge, missing, and growing. That's in quotes. $65 trillion in dollar debt sparks concern. So the Bank for International Settlements, which handles all of this stuff, basically did a report in essence on themselves and said, look, there's 65 trillion in dollar-based debt. We don't know what happened to it. It just disappeared, right? So let's actually scroll down here. Normally we just take you guys through the headlines, but I want to run through this because it's really important, and that's why the glasses are on right now. So if you look at this first line, there's a hidden risk to the global financial system embedded in the $65 trillion debt being held by non-US institutions via currency derivatives. So people always ask what a derivative is. Let's actually take a look at the definition in the finance category, because this is what we're talking about. In finance, a derivative is a contract that derives its value from the performance of an underlying entity. Now, you may have heard this term before, right? Especially around 2008, you heard derivatives and credit default swaps and everything. So here's what happened in 2008 that crashed the housing market. People sold really bad loans, ninja loans, no job, no income, no nothing, right? To people they knew couldn't pay them back. Then banks packaged up those assets, quote unquote assets, and sold them to other people and said, this is great debt, it has a huge return, you should do it. Then everything cratered and the market crashed. That's the bad side of derivatives. So we'll talk about that a bit more. I just wanted to make sure you had the definition handy as well. So in a paper that the Bank for International Settlements did, the title of it was Huge, Missing, and Growing. And what the BIS says is that a lack of information is making it harder for policymakers to anticipate the next financial crisis. Now, if you're a regular reader of Sherlock Exposes, you know we're well into a financial crisis and headed for a depression in the United States and around the world. And this is different from 2008, because in 2008, it was the housing sector. What we keep saying is this one encompasses every sector all around the world. What happens when the whole thing crashes? And this is the danger, right? So in particular, in this report, they raise concern with the fact that the debt is going unrecorded on balance sheets because of accounting conventions on how to track derivative positions. So let's do this in plain English. The people that are supposed to be tracking this stuff aren't doing it because they're hiding something, right? That's bad. But here's the deal with the Bank of International Settlements. And I want to go to the guy who's running it because he's an important player. I want you guys to meet Augustine. So why is this guy important? There is a video of him out. And if you go to our Rumble channel, you'll see that Juliana and I did an episode of Sherlock's Roundtable called The Raw Truth. And we played a video from this guy who's the head of the Bank of International Settlements, where he said, cash is dangerous. If you have a $100 bill, we can't track what's going on. And a digital currency with foundations set where no money can work outside of a digital system would allow them to track every single transaction, as I always like to jokingly say, as Chancellor Palpatine said in Star Wars, for a safe and secure society. That's what this guy wants, right? Remember his name because he's the one that's running this thing. These people basically put out a report on themselves. But look, can you figure out now why they're doing it? The Bank of International Settlements is in the hip pocket with everybody else that wants to drive towards a central bank digital currency. You've heard us speak extensively on multiple media outlets on the dangers of CBDCs. And this report basically says people have no idea what they're doing. There's $65 trillion missing off of balance sheets. And the only way to fix this is with more regulation. Do you see what they're doing here? Do you see how dangerous this is, right? I'll continue. The findings based on data from a survey of global currency markets earlier this year offers a rare insight into the scale of hidden leverage. Now, I'm not gonna bore you guys with all the details, but what they say here is interesting. To be sure, the debt is backed by an equivalent amount of hard currency. So you're telling us 65 trillion in hard currency is missing? Now, if you or I lose $65 in our house, especially today, we're going to find out where that is or who took it, right? $650. Well, the government obviously wants to know because they want to give you a 1099 for any transaction over $600, which basically you don't have a major bill that's under $600. Another story for another time. $65 trillion is magically missing. What happened, right? That's the question to ask yourself. So what these guys say is that this is a blind spot in the financial system. You guys can read this whole thing on Bloomberg. We've linked to it for as long as it's there, and then we have a PDF in the event that you can't find it. But friends, I want to say this. We have been talking about a special report we're working on about the major banks around the world. We have insiders that have told us that basically all the major banks around the world are completely financially insolvent. Here's why you don't know it. Because Congress passed a law in the United States that said banks don't have to report their short positions. All that means is that they don't have to report on investments they've made betting against things doing well. If the banks had to report their short positions in their financial reports, these companies are all publicly traded. You probably own stock in them whether you know it or not. If they had to report those short positions, friends, they would all be completely insolvent tomorrow. If you don't believe me, go put $10,000 in the bank if you're blessed enough to have it in this environment, and then go the next day and try to take it out in cash. You'll get a bank manager that'll come over, they'll ask you a bunch of questions, they'll ask you what's wrong, they'll probably tell you to make an appointment and come back because they don't have the money on deposit. A friend of ours went and said, hey, I'm just curious, are you guys ready for this digital currency thing? The response, we've been ready. We're waiting for the government to make a move. Friends, this is absolute crazy town. This should be the most important story in the world right now, which is why this will be the only story for ripped from the headlines for December 6, 2022, which is today, because this is how important it is. If $65 trillion goes missing, there should be an uproar. This is absolute insanity, but it's an indicator of things to come, friends. This is the way that they set up the cards to get more control. They're going to tell you, hey, we found it. We're not quite sure the money is, but we need more control in order to do that. And by the way, cash and other tangible assets you have aren't good. It all needs to be digital so this quote unquote never happens again. It's a lot to take in, guys. That's why we're doing this as late as we are. We've got to be up in a couple of hours for the expose work we're doing here in Georgia, but it is worth it to share with you what's going on. So please do this for us. Tell all your friends. We always tell you, read or view, subscribe to Sherloc Exposes, and then share with as many people as you can. You can also support our work. You see it scrolling on the bottom of the screen. You'll also see it if you read a bit further down. You can support us via our Give, Send, Go. Every dollar helps to put fuel in the engine. And look, if you need a tax deduction because it's the end of the year, there's also a link if you want to make a donation to our associated nonprofit, the Give Foundation. If $1,000 comes in, that allows us to gift 100 year-long subscriptions to Sherloc Exposes so more people around the world have access so they can share this information. Guys, if you're not subscribed and you're on SherlocExposes.com, click the subscribe button now. You can start for free. That's completely fine. If you're watching this on Rumble or YouTube before they take it down, or on Facebook or anywhere else, go to SherlocExposes.com. That's SHERLOC. We spell Sherlock without a K. SherlocExposes.com. Please subscribe, read, educate yourself, tell all of your friends. We're hard at work trying to make things right and to be the beacon and the lighthouse to let you know what's going on. Guys, thanks for taking a few minutes to join me. Julian is hard on assignment getting ready for tomorrow for this special report. We just thank you guys and God bless you for being here, and please spread the word. We'll talk to you soon.